Hello everybody, we coming back at it again! Jordan Peterson interview, we're gonna dive deep into the main points about being a human, about knowing your identity, about getting more confident within yourself and understanding how much of the impact you can make if you get creative, curious and open to anything and everything. So let's dive right deep into it now.
And so you say, well, what guides you when you're lost? Well, the manifestation of intrinsic meaning guides you when you're lost. You can hear that in music. Like music plays out the balance between chaos and order properly. And it sort of tells you what is intrinsically meaningful and necessary and beautiful and true, all of that. And it's so cool because it works out neurologically, really. Like it is the case that you advance developmentally on the edge of chaos because you have to push yourself to advance. That's what you do when you play. Like if you're playing one-on-one basketball with someone, you don't want to be 6'4" and play with your like 4'2" nephew and just stomp him to death. And you think, well, why not? Because you could beat the little bastard non-stop. It's like, I'm the victor. You don't want that, right? You want to find someone who can push you. Maybe you want to play with someone who's slightly better than you. Now, why? Because it's harder to win.
The challenge will make you greater. The most successful people that I know today or just see here online or people that actually work through the trenches. I'm gonna be able to say it. They had it hard and they shared it afterwards, but you don't know what people got through to even become the people they become today. And I can think about him, Jordan Peterson, and the figure and the impact and the difference he makes today with people is not something that he built overnight. It's something that he built again and again and again every time there was a challenge. And I think today we are so much scared of getting through difficulties, right? And I think nobody actually wants to get through difficulties, to be honest. And usually we want to be successful. We want all the good part about finding somebody, finding a husband, finding a wife, having a business, starting a business and making it successful. And we underestimate the amount of work and the competition that is out there, and for you to transform and get better and better and better. And by getting through the chaos when you are lost and confused through failures, you start picking your priorities too. I feel like you start really getting through the priorities, what is important and what is meaningful for you to have and to stand by. This is how you're starting to get more of that layers of yourself, because you discovering yourself through the difficulties. I was somebody before, when I was in Cameroon or even in France, I was somebody I would never ask a stranger like my way. Like if I was lost somewhere in the city, let's say, I was so scared of doing it because I was like, I don't want to talk to strangers. And my mom made a joke about it because when I was in Ottawa, when I was a student, I started my studies, right? I studied at university. I left my parents in Cameroon, but my mom came with me and stayed with me for a couple of months just for me to get adjusted to the country and the studies and the university and all that stuff. And a couple of years after, when she visited me, she was so impressed and surprised because I got to know a lot of people in the campus and in the city, and I would say hi to everyone, or a lot of people. She was surprised because she knew the version of me being so scared of even talking to one person, one stranger. I hated the idea of talking to people. It was too hard for me. But when I stayed alone and I had no choice to do my thing, to run my errands and know the city and know my ways here and build even my habits, right? My new habits here. It was an adjustment, right? Speaking English. It's not something that I used to do before. It was not natural for me to speak English the same way that I do speak English today, right? But I had to go through that. I had to go through being alone, doing my things, not having my parents around, right? And starting to find my own ways of doing things to the point of just talking, asking people my way. And that is as simple as just getting to another level of yourself, knowing yourself, discovering yourself, right? The point is, by getting through the chaos, it's not for you to get destroyed and never get out of the misery. My coach used to talk about it when she calls it the river of misery. And when you go through the trenches, it is the river of misery because you feel like you have no tools, you have no way out of there because you can't even understand what's going on. Everything is going at the same time, and that you understanding, processing it, and then making decision about it to get out of it. But the more you're doing it, the more you're transforming yourself. And you need to have a challenge. You need to get to something harder and harder each time for you to get better each time. Because when you get out of that, when you get on the other side, you're seeing yourself evolving, right? You're seeing yourself transforming. And nowadays, people are more and more scared. I talked about starting a business in my other videos, like I think it was a video before. It's the same thing here, about you just doing things more and more, things different more and more, and you need to have it to be better and stronger. You need to have competition. We don't want it, but we need it. And I think it's a really great point that he brings here, where it's not by staying with same people having the same level as you or just maybe weaker than you that you're evolving. No, you're evolving through getting challenged. And there's nobody else that is gonna be able to do it better than you, so you have to do it. Nobody else is gonna do it for me. My mom would have done it for me at some point when she came here and visited me, or just when she came here with me. But at some point she had to leave. So find those examples in your life of things that you manage to do more and more, and how you can even build more of that and build more of those muscles for you and for your own confidence, right?
The belief in God is not adherence to a set of semantic propositions. That's just not how it works. It's not like reading a set of descriptors and saying, I concur. It's not that at all. It's being guided by, it's being guided by the spirit of truth. That's one way of thinking about it. Guided by the spirit of adventure. That's another way of thinking about it. And it's faith in meaning, it's faith in truth. Those aren't propositional ideas. They fit the neurology perfectly, because the instinct of meaning manifests itself on the edge of development. That's how your brain's set up.
So well said. Well, when we talk about God in general, whether you theist, you don't believe in Him, you don't believe He exists, or you do believe it exists, especially for the non-believers or those that really have a strong stand about not believing in Him, for any reason, stories and bad experiences for people too, all of that don't represent the full picture of God. It goes through the faith, it goes through the truth. The more you're looking for the truth, the more you're gonna find Him. And even when you get to remove the word God, you replace it by truth, you're gonna find Him at the end of the tunnel, no matter what. And it's so true that for me, going back to just me being Christian, I know I talk a lot about it, but the more I get into just me discovering myself, discovering my own creativity, I guess, and even getting to talk to people through reading, through listening to people like Jordan Peterson, the more it makes sense for me. And a lot of things make even more sense. You might think as a non-believer that God is just a set of rules, like he said, a set of stories, a set of things that, there's the Bible, Jesus did that, or anything that comes along with just believing into one God, especially to the Christian perspective, the Christian approach. And you might think about the stories about the bad people that actually used Christianity to manipulate other people, manipulate groups and communities and nations, right? But at the end of the day, when you go back at who God is, it's the love, it's the understanding, it's listening, it's literally more into caring for people and caring for the truth more than anything else. And the truth goes beyond the emotions. It's not about you feeling any type of way. It's about you standing for a truth, something that makes sense, something that is true. And there's one truth. No matter what people can say, there's one truth. You might come with a lot of reasonings into disagreeing with that, but at the end of the day, even when you get to take different approaches, we still have a common sense or common knowledge of who God is or might be, right? Even if it's not through the Bible, there's just a set of common sense here. When it gets to the truth, there's gonna be one way. You can replace it by any name, any word. The only word that's gonna stand strong is gonna be the truth. That's gonna be the true meaning of it. And when you're creative, still again here you're curious, you're open, you're gonna find the truth. If you remain open, you will find it. No matter where you are, no matter who you are, no matter where you're coming from, you're gonna find it. And I think it's so much more important now to stand for what is true than anything else, because you're gonna have people coming against you. You're gonna have to prepare for what it is, to be clear about it. When you're showing up here online, on YouTube, on social media, you have different type of people. You have different versions of what it is to be and what the truth should be. If it's not true to you, it's gonna be harder for you to stand here and stand strong here for the truth. And a lot of people like Jordan Peterson, Ben Shapiro, and so on, they are the people that, for me, they are less scared hurting people's emotions and standing for the truth. The way that I am, I'm somebody that usually I'm gonna overthink about just hurting people's feelings the most, and that's why it's just hard for me to start speaking more about things like that, because I'm like, I don't want to hurt people's feelings. But when I think about the truth, when I think about what is truth and the impact of having the truth, it's gonna bring more good than anything else. So what am I doing? I'm going for the truth, and I have no problems whatsoever to discuss about it. That's the most important thing, though. It's not about having the truth if you can't even share it, you can't even talk about it, you can't even have a discussion about it. You're standing for it and you're just discussing it. And that's why I love debates, because it's the place where you're exchanging people ideas to get to the truth. Not a common ground necessarily, the truth. What makes sense, the meaning of it. When you're creative, this is where you want to go. Well, I think that was about it for today. I hope you had fun. I hope you liked it. I had so many things to say, but we're gonna talk about it in another episode. For the time being, definitely like and subscribe to the channel, because it's gonna be a lot and a ton more. If you want to work with me as a creativity coach, everything is gonna be down below. And again, like I say all the time, keep smiling, because it's free and contagious in a good way. Bye.